Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you the day of the WWE Network. We're sitting here watching a lot of specials this week. On Tuesday, they debuted a new original special, the WCW Monday Nitro Top 10 list, hosted by Diamond Dallas Page, as he counts down the top 10 greatest moments in WCW history. I'm a pretty big WCW fan, but still, there was a few moments on this list that I haven't really thought about in a long time, or I haven't really, seen. So this was a very fun, only half hour. One of the things that WWE Network can do that's probably really cheap for them to produce over and over and over again. This looks like they had DDP either when they filmed Best of WCW Nitro Volume 2 or WCW Volume 3. I haven't picked up the Volume 3 DVD yet, but DDP, he's already there in studio. You've already built the set. DDP only appeared 3, maybe 4 times during this, the most, talking about what was going on actually in the ring. For all I know, they might have even split in what he talked about during the DVD, introducing the segment, because I don't even think he ever really said like number 4 on the list. At the very beginning, he talked about welcoming everybody to the top 10, so maybe they only had him talk for an extra minute and a half tops, and they were able to make a WCW special for the network. So these are the things that WCW or WWE needs to do for the WWE Network in the foreseeable future, getting more of these out, making things on the network seem like must-see or just enjoyable for people to tune in. This was only a half hour long, going over and watching 10 segments. Very fun, very, very good stuff. Number 10 on the list was DDP putting himself over. La Parka versus Savage, which was talking about, WCW Monday Nitro being built on shock value. In this match, it seemed like, Randy Savage going up against a jobber. They kept talking about him getting ready for his upcoming pay-per-view match. And during this, Randy Savage went up to the top rope after a scoop slam to do the Randy Savage elbow, but he stood up on the top rope for a long time, selling the fact that he was to deliver this elbow. The point he finally jumped off the top rope, La Parka got his 2 feet up, kicked Savage right in the chest. As Savage spun around, La Parka jumped up, hit Randy Savage with a diamond cutter. Diamond Dallas Page ripped off the La Parka mask as he did the pin. 1, 2, 3. Savage loses. Scott Hall is still celebrating, thinking to the point that Randy Savage got the victory before he finally turns around and realizes that Savage is knocked out and Liz is on top of him. DDP, takes off, and he takes off through the crowd. Very, very cool moment. I've always thought about this being on Nitro. I didn't know that it happened. I'm sorry, I didn't know that it happened on Nitro. I thought it happened on Thunder for some reason, but this was number 10 on the list. Number 9 was the return of Sting, sort of showing that he was with WCW after so many months of just seeing him up in the rafters, not really doing anything. There was a big NWO versus WCW brawl, which was led by the Harlem Heat. You had the Steiners and the Giant all in the ring. NWO finally got ran off, and at this point, a firework, just one firework, exploded above the ring. Sting rappelled down from the rafters. I'm not sure if this was the first time he rappelled down, but the place started going bananas. He got up on the top rope. He pointed the bat at Hogan. Hogan's selling the fact that he's pointing at me, and you're building up Sting versus Hogan for that Starrcade down the road. Number 8 would be the NWO Riot on WCW Monday Nitro. In this, we saw a 6-man tag match, which was Sting, Luger, and Savage teaming up against the Horsemen, having a normal-sized match. But during the match, Jimmy Hart, who is part of the Dungeon of Doom at this point, came running down to the ring, really not in character, jumping up, trying to get the attention of the guys in the ring, trying to get the attention of the referee, telling them that there was something in the back that they needed to get an eye on. Finally, the WCW cameras from Nitro got back there. At this point, Sting, Luger, and Savage, they all packed up and ran to the back. At this point, we saw that the NWO, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were standing over Marcus Bagwell, beating him with a baseball bat. At this point, Scotty Riggs came running, trying to attack him, to get him off his tag team partner. Scott Hall attacked him with one of the big lights that hang above the ring. At this point, Rey Mysterio came walking out of one of the trailers and said, hey, he made a flying leap at Kevin Nash, who caught him and then just lawn darted him right into the side of the trailer. Very cool moment, the way he just sails. Head hits right into the thing and just falls straight down to the ground. At this point, the WCW Monday Nitro turned into more of an episode of like CNN live broadcasting a riot, like it was a news scene in the back about how many guys were back there. Sting, who doesn't speak to Spanish, I guess you can say. He's trying to get word from Eddie Guerrero about what happened back there from Rey Mysterio. Was there 3 guys? Was there 4 guys? How many guys were back there? Very cool moments trying to blend reality with professional wrestling. Number 7 would be the debut of Karl Malone. Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan were inside of the ring talking about Malone being too chicken to show up to San Diego. At this point, Karl Malone and his big diesel truck came pulling up to the back of the arena. Karl Malone and DDP got out of the back. They showed him come all the way through the arena, all the way through the backstage, coming out on stage, coming up all the way behind, surprising Hogan and Bischoff. And, Eric Bischoff ran like a coward. Hulk Hogan, who said that he wanted the first shot at Malone, ended up getting dropped and showing that Malone had some value for WCW. Number 6 was the Goldberg spear on Bret Hart, where Bret Hart called out Goldberg, saying that he was man enough to fight him. Goldberg came down there, he did a little bit of a face-off. Goldberg immediately speared Bret Hart, who was wearing a metal sort of, I don't know, he said that they were in hockey country, so I don't know if this is actually like a vest that a hockey goalie would wear in order to protect himself. But one thing led to another. Bret Hart rolled Goldberg over, who was knocked out from the spear. Bret Hart counted his own pin. He got up, he said, "Hey, Eric Bischoff," in the back, "I quit," and then walked off. I remember this causing a little bit of buzz for WCW at this point, and I think that's exactly what they were trying to do. But how they capitalized on this years later, I've got no clue. I'm guessing that it was Bret Hart versus Goldberg, maybe their Starrcade match or something like that, but it seems like it'd be something that you'd remember years down the road. Number 5 is Chris Jericho reading his holds on Monday Nitro before finally being broken up by Prince Iaukea. Number 4 on the list was DDP staying with WCW. Basically, NWO was recruiting DDP. And after a match that DDP won, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall made their way down to the ring. DDP put on the NWO shirt, sort of celebrated with Nash and Hall, 2 guys that he really had a lot of chemistry with. He's friends with both of those guys. DDP was the manager of the Diamond Stud, who was Scott Hall. They were both supposed to use the toothpick gimmick back in the day. DDP used to travel with Kevin Nash a lot. But as Scott Hall gave him a 5 and then went to sort of celebrate, DDP pulled him back in. He gave him a huge diamond cutter, and after that, Kevin Nash turned around, noticed that Scott Hall was down, and DDP did it like, I don't know what happened to him. And then Kevin Nash decided that he needed to try and attack DDP, so he came running at him with a clothesline, and at that point, DDP pulled down the top rope. Nash went toppling over on top of a table, and then grabbed the table and flipped over with it. A very, very funny Kevin Nash table spot. I took a video of this. It's a very low quality, but I put it up on my Twitter account. 5-star Kevin Nash table bump. I laughed during the whole thing. It's very funny. But DDP stays with WCW at that point. I think this is when he started doing the thing where he's with the people, and he leaves through the stands and actually walks through the fans. Number 3 was a match between the Mauler and Steve Dahl, which would be the debut of Scott Hall. Basically, the match is going on like any match would go to, and then as you're watching TV on the left-hand side, you see where like the vendors would make their way down, selling cotton candy or popcorn or anything like that. But it's a guy dressed all in denim, and you can tell that he's big, and he's got some size to him, so this is something. And then he gets closer to the ring, you realize, oh fuck, that's Razor Ramon, who would actually be Scott Hall. He makes his debut getting in the ring. The Mauler and Steve Dahl just stop fighting because they can't believe what's going on. And this would be the start of the NWO. Scott Hall declaring war, asking, where is Scheme Gene? Where is the Nacho Man? Where is Billionaire Ted? And then number 2 on the list would be the debut of WCW, which would be Hulk Hogan against Big Bubba, a.k.a. the Big Boss Man. Lex Luger, of course, making his big debut. During the Hogan versus Bubba match, the Dungeon of Doom hit the ring, and at this point, Lex Luger comes out. He is the guy to try and make the save. Hogan and Luger go back-to-back. Hogan's asking Luger, what are you doing here? Luger saying, I've been where you've been where I've been, we both beat the same people. I want to see who is the best guy out there. This is pretty, I think about this a lot more because I've seen a lot of stuff with Eric Bischoff, especially with him talking about, signing Luger with a lowball offer, not even really wanting Luger, but Luger being a great move because, you know, they wanted to kick off WCW Nitro in a great way. If he didn't really even want Luger and he gave Luger such a low deal, why is he making Luger seem like he's the biggest star in the company, and it looks like you're going with a Hogan versus Luger one-on-one feud? Is it just because he knows that Luger has some value, even though he doesn't like the guy that much? He's trying to get all the money's worth out of him you can in case he has to fire him somewhere down the road. But you can definitely tell that Luger versus Hogan is a big match. I know that they blew this off on the second week of Monday Nitro, but it seems like something they would want to be going back and trying to make money with down the road. Number one on the list was, I think out of all of these on the list, the only one that I was lucky enough to be a part of, that would be Goldberg versus Hulk Hogan. Hollywood Hulk Hogan, I guess you can say, on WCW Monday Nitro. Probably the biggest match in the history of Nitro. Goldberg would accomplish winning the WCW World Heavyweight Championship from Hulk that night, and man, what a fun day that was. I remember everything about that, about getting to the arena, how packed it was, throwing trash in the ring once it was done. Quite possibly one of the biggest matches that I've ever been at, and I've been at a lot of them. One of my favorite matches that I've ever seen: Undertaker versus Triple H, Rock versus Cena, the Hell in the Cell between Undertaker and Triple H. I've been in a lot of great moments, and this is definitely one of the ones that I'm asked about more than anything else. But very, very fun times. Goldberg versus Hogan, number one on the list. Thank you, DDP. I had fun watching your top 10 WCW moments of all time.